As many of you know, I grew up in a very small town in southwest Minnesota, right on the borders of South Dakota and Iowa, where it is nice and flat. And so what would happen in the winter is any time there was any kind of a wind, we would have an instantaneous blizzard. And we'd be at school and we would hear the announcement over the intercom that any of the country kids should go home with their town families because there would be no buses running. So anybody who lived in the country had to have a town family, people that they would stay overnight with. And so we had anywhere from 2 to 11 additional people who would stay at our house, kind of a smaller house. And so they'd come about the middle of November with their suitcases, and they'd leave it there until about the middle of April. We loved it. I mean, we had kids all over on the floor, on the couch, sharing the bedroom with us. And I remember my mom always saying, "There's always room in our home. There is always room in our home." And at Christmas, I almost envision her saying, "There is always room in our inn." And isn't that what this Christmas message is all about, as we accept that great gift of Christ into our lives and into our hearts, that we also become those innkeepers who make sure that our hearts and our homes and our lives are also open and have room for everyone. That is the amazing message that the shepherds took to the people that changed their lives. In fact, we know that they even went home by a different route. They were so changed. But it's the message that we are to have too, to look at ourselves and to say, in what ways are we willing to be those innkeepers who easily open our homes and our hearts? There are so many needs in our world right now. I think the greatest need is that need to welcome those into our lives. And so when we look at people who perhaps have a different religion than we do, a different set of faith beliefs, are we still willing to be those innkeepers who welcome them? When we see all of our brothers and sisters who are trying to migrate to our country, or those who live in our neighborhoods, are we willing to open the doors to them as well? Are we willing to be those innkeepers who open up our hearts to forgiveness, to inclusion, to be those people of peace and welcome? Our worship committee a number of months ago came up with a welcome card that you've probably been seeing in the rack and the books on the chairs in front of you. And it's very inclusive of the people that we believe are welcome here among us. It stretches us a bit, but we know that Jesus Christ has no closed doors. And so we are not to have those doors closing either. And so we are to be those people who continually welcome those into our lives, and especially into our parish here. And so, friends, as we celebrate this Christmas season, let us remember that Christ has asked us to continue to open doors to others, to allow them to be part of our lives, part of our hearts, part of our families, and part of our parish.